Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'll give a few minutes for people to log in. And Julie has joined us.
Sorry, everyone.
So we're just giving it a minute for everyone to log in. We'll wait just a little bit more. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Marina Martinzide. I am the Education USA advisor at the Foothill office. Welcome to our first ever Education USA Brazil virtual roadshow. This week we have had presentations every day from Monday to Thursday, and this is our last one. So it's been a great week. If you've joined us every day, thank you so much. If you're just joining us now, I hope this is a great session. To our representatives here, thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us. We really appreciate it. Our panel today is about the advantages of community colleges and the transfer process. And so I hope you guys enjoy it. And I will now pass the mic over to our country coordinator, Annelise.
Thank you, Marina. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, our dear representatives. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Annelise Zandona Hoffman, the country coordinator of this wonderful network of Education USA in Brazil. I'll switch to Portuguese for a few minutes for brief announcements, so bear with me. Boa tarde, pessoal. Prazer ter vocês aqui hoje. Depois de uma semana intensa de muitos encontros com várias pessoas interessadas em estudar nos Estados Unidos. Nós estamos hoje com nossa última sessão da tarde e também da semana. Então, a gente só quer lembrar vocês que essa foi uma atividade do Education USA, que é a nossa rede global de centros de orientação sobre estudos dos Estados Unidos. Nós somos ligados ao Departamento de Estado americano. Aqui no Brasil, a gente tem 40 escritórios espalhados pelo nosso país, que tem o objetivo de oferecer informações completas, atualizadas e direto da fonte das universidades americanas. Mais de 4.700 instituições disponíveis, com as portas abertas para vocês. Então, nessa tarde, nós vamos estar, durante o evento, com o chat fechado, mas vocês vão ter todas as perguntas que vocês possam querer trazer aqui, vocês podem trazer, tá, naquela aba, e nós vamos respondendo. E nós vamos ter também 15 minutos para respostas das mais gerais, mais comuns, tá? Lembrem-se que vocês vão ter oportunidade, depois dessa sessão, de falar diretamente com os representantes que estão aqui. Nós vamos colocar, daí sim, no chat, os links para as respectivas salas de cada um dos representantes, para vocês entrarem e ouvirem daquela instituição especificamente as informações. E nós também vamos ter uma sala do Education USA com os nossos orientadores, respondendo todas as dúvidas mais pontuais que vocês possam ter. Aproveitem a sessão, sejam bem-vindos. Okay, so we are ready. Let's start the panel off. The first representative, feel free to start.
All right, hello students. Thank you for being here today. We're really excited to present to all of you about two-year community colleges and transfer. So when we begin the presentation, we're actually going to do just a quick overview about community college and provide you some tips on how to navigate this space. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our presentation. It's called the 2+2 Formula Community Colleges. And I'd like to introduce quickly our panel of presenters today. And if you could just say your name, what you do for your institution, the institution that you're from, and where it is, that'd be great. So my name is Christopher Turville. I'm the Assistant Director for Global Engagement and the Manager of International Admissions for Orange Coast College, a two-year community college in Costa Mesa, California.
Hi, everybody. I'm George Beers. I'm from Foothill and Anza, which are two community colleges that are located just south of San Francisco in the middle of Silicon Valley. So we're surrounded by Apple, Google, Yahoo, Instagram, all of the companies that you use every day. So welcome to the presentation today.
Hola, my name is Dorianne Tran. I'm from San Jose City College. It's also located in Silicon Valley, in the south part of Silicon Valley. And I'm the international counselor and coordinator there. I look forward to getting to know all of you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Andrew Hall. I am the Associate Director of International Outreach and Marketing at Shoreline Community College, just outside of downtown Seattle in Washington State. As George mentioned, they have Yahoo, Apple, and Google. I have Google and Amazon and Facebook near my school. So we have a lot of good technology for you guys to have great opportunities for. So happy to join you guys.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Laurie Smith-Watson. I'm our Assistant Director for International Admission at UMBC, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. We're located in the middle of the East Coast of the United States, just about 60 kilometers north of Washington, D.C., and very near to all of the very, very important National Institutes of Health, which are doing such terrific work during this pandemic with finding vaccines and additional research that's so necessary to the entire globe. Welcome. I look forward to getting to know you.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome. My name is Julie Whitlow, and I'm from Salem State University, a four-year public university that has master's degree programs as well. And we are located about 25 miles north of the city of Boston. Salem is a small historic city on the ocean with many businesses and industries in the Boston area that are accessible to our students.
All right, thank you, panelists. And for the students, we'll have these slides at the end of the presentation in case you want to screenshot them to follow up with us afterwards. So really excited to actually have two four-year universities here to also talk about community college and also talk about their transfer opportunities. But I just wanted to just say, what is a community college really all about? And if we can explain it in one word, that's access. And one of the hallmarks about US education is that we provide an opportunity for any student to pursue higher education. And it typically starts for a lot of students at the community colleges. In fact, the community colleges are at the forefront of providing higher education access to our students. So we specialize in two-year programs. We have open enrollment and low-cost tuition. And Andrew's going to take on the next slide to talk about the roadmap of what the 2+2, the winning formula is. Go ahead, Andrew.
Thanks, Chris. So as you can see from the slide, the winning formula for a 2+2 really is all about that access and the opportunity to really make your education your own. So as you can see, over 50% of Americans actually take advantage of the community college system and choose to go through community college to earn your associate's degree and then transfer to the university. So when you see the top yellow arrows of the slide here, you're seeing that you do 2 years at a community college, which earns your associate's degree, and you have a couple options from there. So you can either transfer directly into your university of choice and finish your next 2 years to complete your bachelor's degree. You can take a gap year and maybe use your earned year of OPT, so your optional practical training, to get some more experience and learn a little bit more about your program before completing your university transfer and completing the bachelor's degree. Or you can actually just stop at the associate's degree and earn that as well. So there's lots of options that really go through that process. And as the slide also shows, over 96,000 international students are participating in this 2+2 option of going to the community college and then transferring to the university to complete the bachelor's degree, because there are a lot of great options and reasons why you choose that. And we'll talk about those in the next slides.
So this idea of transfer, how does it really work? I think it's important to step back a little bit and say that this community college option is unique to the US, very popular in the US, and it's been around in the US for about 100 years. And the idea from the very beginning was that, and the governments asked each state to do this as they were developing their community college plans. The idea was that the community colleges needed to develop their courses, their curriculum, in cooperation with the universities that were located in the same state. So that when students did the courses at the community college, they could be sure that they could transfer all of those courses that they did in the first 2 years at the community college into the third year. They would get complete credit and go into the third year at any university. And the way that it's set up is that the curriculum in the first 2 years now at a community college is pretty much the same as the first 2 years at any university. So students doing 2 years at a community college are able to transfer to universities anywhere in the US. So there's a lot of flexibility with this transfer program. One of the big advantages is that when you transfer, the universities don't go back and look at the marks that you earn at your high school level, but they look only at the marks that you've earned at the community college. So it becomes a second chance for you to get a very competitive academic record. And that helps many students to be able to go into the third year at a university that they could not have qualified for with just their marks right out of high school. So it's much easier to transfer from a community college into the third year of a very selective university than it is to go to the first year of a really selective university right from your high school. We've worked with, the community colleges have worked with the universities, especially the universities in the state where they're located, to make sure that course by course, all of the requirements, all of the grading criteria are the same for the courses at the community college as the courses at the university. And that's what I was talking about, going back 100 years, that community colleges have developed that concept from the very beginning. So the community colleges are generally operated by the states in which they're located. Today we have 3 community colleges from California, 1 from Washington State. And in both of our cases, and by the way, the best community colleges in the US are in California and in Washington, so you're lucky to have us here today. And in both of our states, the community college students coming from the community colleges located in the state get priority when they transfer into the universities that are located in the states where they are. So for the California community colleges, the University of California system and the California State University system give priority to California community colleges. So if you were really focused on universities like UCLA and Berkeley, it's a little bit easier to transfer if you start in California. The same is pretty much true in Washington. Shoreline is much easier to transfer into the University of Washington, which is a great university, if you're starting in Washington. You can, however, go from California to Washington or Washington to California or anywhere else in the US. So that's pretty much how the transfer works.
Greetings once again. One of the things we wanted to be sure to emphasize in the presentation today is that community colleges are right for so many students. There is a community college for every student. There are so very many students whom we can identify who began their higher education at community college. Just at my own institution, our Dean of the College of Natural and Mathematical Sciences, Dr. Bill LaCours, began his higher educational journey by completing a degree, an associate's degree at community college, prior to moving forward and finally in his education getting his PhD. So there are many ways in which you can include that option starting at the community college as part of your educational journey. Once again, using my institution as an example, many of our most outstanding undergraduate students came to us from community colleges within the state of Maryland. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. Perhaps some of them did a little bit of intensive English study before moving on to completing their associate's degree and moving forward. And because there are also additional scholarship opportunities that are available for students transferring to four-year institutions from community colleges, there are some strong financial advantages to beginning your higher education journey at community college. We want to stress that there are tremendously strong academic programs available for you throughout the United States at community colleges. And really, whatever is on your higher education to-do list can be started in those first 2 years of study at community college. Thank you.
As you may have heard, there are over 1,000 community colleges across the United States. So many students start at community colleges with the same sort of major that they're interested in studying. And some of the majors in community colleges may actually be stronger than those at a four-year university. So as we've heard from our other panelists, this is an excellent pathway. So you could get your associate's degree in a very strong two-year major, and then you can transfer to a four-year college, or you can then return to your home country or do your optional practical training with your associate's degree, and then transfer to a four-year university or college in the United States. So how do you choose? That, of course, is the big question for all of you. I think you have some of us here from the East Coast and some of us here from the West Coast. And there are many, many schools in between those places in the United States. So I think in general, you should research the location. How far is it from your home? How far do you want to travel? How many time zones away from your friends and family would you like to be? What is the cost of living in a particular place? If your major is in the high-tech Silicon Valley world, then you may want to look to a school on the West Coast. If you're interested in healthcare, financial sector, you may want to look to the East Coast. So I think that there are ways for you to research the businesses and industries that are more prevalent in the area of the country that you want to be in. And I'm mentioning East Coast, West Coast, just because our representation is largely from those areas. But the United States is a very big country with 50 states, 48 of them contiguous in what we would refer to as North America, with the exception of Alaska and Hawaii, which also have community colleges, but you probably don't want to go that far. So I think you should look to those industries in the region, the location, the interest and the program of your study, and whether those community colleges have that. Perhaps, as you've heard, whether those community colleges have an agreement with a four-year university. As Laurie just told you, our four-year universities, of which I represent as well, many of our best students come from two-year community colleges in our region. So there are many ways for you to investigate the best fit for you. I think you can also look at the accreditation of the university that you would like to go to. All of our schools have a regional accreditation for the entire university. And many of our business schools or computer science programs have specialty accreditations, which means that they have been reviewed by an external organization and have said that this program is exceptional. So you can also look to those factors, as well as look at what their international offices provide for you. At Salem State, we do have a Center for International Education. We try to give individualized attention to our international students to help them with cultural adjustment, engagement, peer mentors, and to help them find academic support, support for healthcare, and any other issues that they may be having on campus. So much of this information is available on the various schools' website. You can also look to economic indicators in the region to see what sort of opportunities that may be available to you for internships or potential OPT work after you may graduate. Thank you.
Okay, so from time to time, international students who transfer to university would come back and share with me how similar universities are to community colleges. We're very comprehensive. Just like universities, we have academic counseling, career counseling, research opportunities, and more. But a lot of the students often share that they really enjoy their community college experience because of the extra support and resources that we offer to help students reach their academic goals and personal goals. We're also very holistic. I know for many of our international students, it's also important to meet friends, meet others, and make friends. And we as community colleges really do care about your experience, not only in the classroom, but also outside the classroom. We want our students to feel comfortable and to know that their community college is like their second home. So with that, we offer many different activities on campus. We have clubs on campus for students to join. If you want to start a club, you can do that as well. For those of you who are interested in athletics and sports, some of the community colleges offer football, basketball team, swim team, whatever the sport you're interested in, it may be offered at that community college. For some of us, like I'm not really as much into sports, but I might like to do research. There's also those opportunities there at the community college as well. You'll have the opportunity to meet with professors on a more personal or closer level, and you can do a research project with some of these professors as well. Also, we're very, very supportive, and that's what community colleges also pride themselves on. Being away from home can be very hard for all of our students, being away from your friends and your family, but community colleges really do provide a lot of support for the students. We really do care about your success as a student and how well you do. Because of the small class size, you'll have the opportunity to get to know your professors on a closer level. They also want to get to know you. You'll get the individualized attention and you won't really feel lost at a community college. Professors who teach at a community college really do care about their students. They care about teaching their students. Whereas at the universities, a lot of the professors may be focused more on research. So that's definitely one of the benefits of coming to a community college. There's also a lot of other support such as free tutoring, writing center, academic advising, career planning, all of those different types of support services to help our students. And that's what the benefits of a community college are as well.
All right, thank you, panelists. So that was our brief overview about community colleges in general, and we're going to segue to the next part of our presentation, is to talk about our different state systems of community colleges and also our institutions as examples of those state systems. So we're going to start with California to talk about the California Community College System. So the California Community College System is actually the largest system of public higher education in the world. We are a system of 115 campuses and colleges throughout our state, including a fully online college as well. And we educate 2.5 million students. So we offer 400,000 class sizes. Now, you're probably wondering, how do we educate 2.5 million students? Your class sizes must be really big. If you do the math, that's about 6.5 students per classroom. So we have a lot of classes, a lot of professors, a lot of different majors. And actually, community colleges in California really is just part of the culture of higher education here. We are actually the most funded public institution in the state of California, meaning that the California community colleges get the most state funding than any other institution or government institution in the state. So like Dorian said, California Community College is a really good example of us being holistic, comprehensive, because we just have so many programs and we can educate so many different students. And again, the culture of transfer is really common. 50% of the students who transfer to the University of California in California State our graduates and transfers from the California community colleges. So something to really think about. We have a diversity of students. I think that's one thing that really sticks us, that really is a hallmark about the California community colleges. We bring in, because the door is so wide open, so many different students come through our halls. And some of our most famous alumni, for example, if you like Star Wars, George Lucas went to a two-year community college. The actor Tom Hanks went to a two-year community college. If you're viewing this on an Apple device, Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs also went to a community college, actually Georgia's community college up north. And also the biggest firework in the sky, Katy Perry, went to a California community colleges. And the former governor too, Arnold Schwarzenegger. But you don't have to be a famous person or to be a successful person at the California community colleges. Many students have moved on to do the shakers and movers in the industries and the communities that they serve. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and start talking about our individual colleges in California, starting with Foothill and De Anza College in Northern California.
Well, where are we located? I think that's one of the most interesting parts of what makes Foothill and De Anza unique. We're in, as Chris said, Northern California. If you look at this map, this is the San Francisco Bay Area. And at the tip of the map, you'll see San Francisco. And if you come down about 45 minutes, you'll see Foothill College. It's our first campus. We built it in 1960. It has about a third of our students. And then 5 minutes driving further south is De Anza College. All surrounding that are the headquarters of all of the major companies that you think of as high tech in the area. We're also very near 3 of the 9 University of California campuses and Stanford. Right next to Foothill, out in front of Foothill, is both Stanford and the headquarters of Google, and the Apple headquarters are about 5-minute walk from De Anza. So we're right in the middle of a very stimulating, exciting area. This part of Northern California is very warm, not hot, but warm. It never snows, and it's about 45 minutes from the ocean. So for those of you who love it, the ocean like you do in Brazil, we're not far at all. Then way in front of us is a lot of mountains, so that you can hike in the mountains on one day, come home, and then go to the beach the next day. So let's look at the next slide. What makes us different than the other community colleges in California? It's very hard to choose. I think each community college has its own characteristics. Foothill and De Anza are ranked by a ranking program at edsmart.org. Foothill's the #1 ranked medium-sized community college. De Anza is the #1 ranked large community college for overall student success and quality. So take a look at edsmart.org. Of the 1,100 community colleges in the US, the founding members of an organization called the League for Innovation in Community College, the board members, are probably the top 20 community colleges in North America in terms of innovation forward thinking. And we've been a founding member and board member of the League for Innovation in Community Colleges since its start about 45 years ago. In terms of the size of community college international enrollments in the US, Foothill and De Anza combined are the 2nd largest community college district in the US in terms of the number of international students. We've got over 3,000 international students from over 114 countries. Usually there's anywhere between 25 to 50 Brazilians. So we love Brazilians because they always bring a party to the campus. They're very well prepared, and they're just a very good part of the blend. But because we have students from so many different countries, you have the opportunity to learn about the cultures from many countries. So it's a very stimulating environment. And I've been working with international students for the last 40 years and have seen that students who make friends from other countries while they're at Foothill or De Anza end up keeping those friendships for a lifetime. So it's very easy to be able to meet somebody from halfway around the world and then be friends and visit and get to know those people all through your lifetimes. The biggest differentiation, though, is that we're #1 for transfer into the University of California system. And I think that looking at where students transfer successfully from a community college is important. Out of 1,000 international students, for example, last year who transferred, 84 got into Berkeley, 105 to UCLA, 291 to the University of California, San Diego. Those are the top 3 universities of the University of California system. So that differentiates us a little bit from other community colleges, but let's look at some of the others.
So I'm very proud to share that San Jose City College is celebrating its 100-year centennial of education and opportunity to our community and to our international students. We were founded in 1921 and we're considered one of the oldest community colleges in California. I've worked here at San Jose City College for about 15 years now, and I can tell you that's really a great place to work and study. Our population is about 10,000 students, and of that we have 300 international students. It may seem like a very small international student population, but we're actually very proud of that. We love that we can provide the individualized attention to each of our students. We're very connected to our students, and we offer a lot of different activities and free activities for them. Let's talk about San Jose City, the city of San Jose itself. San Jose is actually a very large city. We're actually the 10th largest in the United States, but it's a very safe, friendly, and diverse city. If you're missing home cooking, there's some Brazilian restaurants nearby, as well as all types of cuisine. If you want to visit San Francisco, it's just an hour away. If you want to visit the beach, it's also nearby. If you want to go see the snow, that's about 4 hours away. If you just want to go visit a university, just like Stanford or UC Berkeley, those are also very close to us. We have national parks and so much more for students to explore. Similar to Anza and Foothill, San Jose City College is also located in Silicon Valley, where the top companies like Apple, Google, eBay, YouTube are. But we're actually in the southern part of Silicon Valley. So it's a little different. It's a little bit more central for students and more affordable for students, being that we're very close to great transportation like bus and the train. Students only pay about $11 per term to use the public transportation system at our school. We have strong academic and guaranteed transfer programs, just like the other community colleges in California. But we also offer short-term certificate programs. So for those of you who are only interested in studying for a year, San Jose City College also offers that option. A lot of our students, international students, do work on campus, and they could earn about $15 US dollars per hour and work up to 20 hours a week. And we're just very happy that we're able to provide that employment opportunity for the students. What's also great about the Centennial is that we're no longer charging an application fee, so students can just apply to our college. Our tuition is quite low. It's about $8,000 per year. I really could go on and on about San Jose City College, but I want you to hear from one of our current international students in the next slide. She wrote a testimonial about her experience at San Jose City College. Next slide. Okay, so this is Rafaela. She's a top influencer in Brazil, from Sao Paulo as well, and she is currently studying media arts. Now unfortunately I cannot read in Portuguese, but I'm just gonna read it in English. You guys can read it in Portuguese or English if you'd like. So Rafaela shares this. I've had the best experience possible while studying for 3 years at San Jose City College, starting with a reception by the International Office, which offers excellent support for students. The variety of courses offered was a positive point for my decision, as I knew I would have several possibilities to pursue my career with something I liked. I will graduate in June 2021, and I have no doubt that studying at San Jose City College was my best choice. So if you'd like to learn more about San Jose City College, I'd love for you to join me later in our Zoom session as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dorian and George. So again, my name is Christopher Turville. I represent Orange Coast College, which is located in Costa Mesa in Southern California. So while I was crafting this presentation to talk about OCC, I wanted to actually use our Brazilian students actually as a way and tell their stories to talk about OCC. So I like to say that at OCC, it's cooler at coast. And I like to echo George that our Brazilian students are the cool kids on campus. In fact, I like to say that Brazilians are the cool kids of the world. And here's some of examples of some of our students. So in total, we have roughly about 50 Brazilian students, and they have done amazing things at OCC in many different areas, many different fields that we do provide at our institution. So I wanted to talk about the fact that we do offer more than 130 different programs. So we are considered a comprehensive community college. And one of our highlight programs is our film and television program. And this is our student Enzo. He's from Campinas. He was actually the founder of our Film Honor Society. So our Film Honors program was started because of Enzo. And because of that, he did a lot of community service. He was the OCC Student of the Year. We actually gave him a lot of scholarship money for him to transfer to his university, which was the New School in New York City. Now he's an independent filmmaker as well in New York City. So our film and television program is actually well connected to the entertainment industry. We have students who work on many different film sets, credited in films such as Star Wars, Star Trek, and Tron. They work for Universal Studios, Disney Studios, Columbia Pictures, and Pixar. And that's actually done after their 2-year degree. Many of our students actually don't transfer, as our programs, a lot of our programs, including our film program, really does help students get jobs after their undergraduate or their 2-year associate's degree. Okay. Now, one thing about community colleges and OCC, again, we're very comprehensive. And one really popular program at our campus is actually our athletic program. We are actually one of the top junior athletic programs in the United States, and actually a really popular recruiting ground for the NCAA. And this is actually an example of one of our students from Brazil. This is Eduardo. He's from Sao Paulo. He was actually on the Brazil junior national team before he came to OCC. But he was a water polo captain. He transferred to Cal State Long Beach, and he earned a full NCAA Division I scholarship. In fact, 94 of our student athletes have transferred to the NCAA. Many offered full scholarships. So if you are a student athlete not being heavily recruited right now at the university level, come to a community college. We offer 23 different sports teams at OCC, and many other community colleges have very competitive sports programs. Now, one thing that makes OCC attractive is actually our location. So we're located in Southern California in a beautiful area called Orange County between Los Angeles and San Diego. Costa Mesa is considered suburban, but we're coastal. That's why we're called Orange Coast. So we're about 5 minutes from the beach, including Huntington Beach, which is also known as Surf City, USA, and 15 minutes from Disneyland Resort, which right now is actually being used as a COVID vaccination site, but it'll be open next month. But Natan is a really good example. He's a beach baby from Ubatuba in the coastal parts of Brazil. He came to us because we're by the beach, but he transferred to Florida International University, which I know is one of the most popular universities for Brazilian students, and he's currently pursuing his master's degree. So coming to a community college, it doesn't have to stop at the bachelor's degree level. You can definitely move on to your master's degree and PhD as well. Find him on YouTube. If you just type in Natan Orange Coast College, he has a YouTube video about his experiences at OCC. And the student I wanted to highlight the most, she's actually here in our presentation, is our student body president. Really proud to say that our student body president is from Brazil, and that's Daniela from Sao Paulo. She was recently admitted to the University of Toronto in Canada, which is a top university in Canada. And the reason why OCC does really well in transfer, that it's not just about your grades and taking classes. We really do offer a very holistic college experience. Daniela, again, is involved in student government. She actually works for me at the Global Engagement Center as my student assistant. She serves as a student ambassador, talking to prospective students, and just really super involved on campus. And one of the things that allows us to be really help student involvement is that we're the only community college in Southern California with on-campus student housing. So if you want that residential experience at a community college, that's something that we do offer at OCC. Follow us on Instagram at OCC Internationals. In fact, we do accept the Duolingo English test. If you follow us, DM us. I'm giving away a free coupon code for you to take the Duolingo. I'll do an opportunity drawing at the end of the week. So follow us on Instagram so you can be part of that drawing. So if you want to join me and Daniela for our session today, please join us at the end of today's presentation. Thank you so much, and we'll move on to the state of Washington.
Thanks, Chris. Moving on to the state of Washington, just one state north of California and Washington State. We have 34 community colleges in our community college system, along with a bunch of other universities as well. One of the big things I always like to point out about how strong, as Chris and George and Dorian mentioned about the California school system, how strong it is, how strong the Washington community college system is as well. So there are 5 community colleges in the top 20 for international enrollment. So there are a lot of students from around the world that are coming to the Washington State community college system. And as you can see, the total number of international students in the Washington state system are 26,000 international students are within the Washington state system. So there are a lot of students from around the world coming to Washington state, and not only for the education, but for the opportunities that the state can hold. We have a very large budget for our education system. With the University of Washington, we have a top 10 university within the system, very easy to transfer to. And the fact that we do have both the mountains, we have the coast, and we have the technology and the business within the Seattle area. Washington State really does have a wide variety of opportunities for students coming to the Washington State area to provide not only education, but the experience of being in the United States as well. So next slide, Chris. So I'm here to represent Shoreline Community College. We are about 15 minutes north of the city of Seattle. So the cool thing about our area is our location. We are located, I said, about 15 minutes from the city, and we're about 35-40 minutes from some of the largest mountain ranges in the country. So the bottom picture is a little small, but you can kind of see where Seattle is located, and just a half-hour drive from the city itself, you're having Mount Rainier National Park. So we are surrounded by five of the largest national forest preserves and national parks within the country. And again, we have Mount Rainier, which is one of the highest peaks in the continental United States. So when coming to the Seattle and Shoreline campus area, you have the opportunity to be a part of a community of technology, medicine, and urban life, but also have the opportunity to go camping and kind of escape and get into nature and understand that you can have both living within one local area, which is really, really nice. So Shoreline Community College has roughly around 10,000 students. And of them, about 1,000 of those students are international students from over 50 different countries. So we're a very wide variety when it comes to our demographic of our students. And a very cool part is a lot of our students are actually from Latin America and Brazil as well. So in the past 4 quarters, we've had at least 2 Brazilian students start at Shoreline, either to do our hybrid option to come into the campus right now and living in our new residence hall, or they're taking classes from online from their home country and their hometown as well. So we have a really large community of Brazilian students here at Shoreline, and it's growing every single quarter, even during this hard time during the pandemic. So one thing I do want to point out during the pandemic, and obviously right now with a lot of opportunities to come to the United States, is the options that you can have right now starting in the community college system. So I don't know if anyone's going to mention it, but at the community college, we have more start dates than universities. So a lot of universities may only have 2 times you can start a year, maybe 3 if they have a summer, a quarter that they're semester they're able to do. But many community colleges have 4 quarters a year. So that's 4 individual start terms you can start. So for Shoreline, our next start term is going to be April 5th, and we are still accepting applications for online opportunities. So we have that chance. We have 2 new Brazilian students who are actually both going to be doing online programs, because we're doing asynchronous and synchronous programs right now here at Shoreline. So if the 3 to 5 hour difference in the time zone is something that might influence your life, you can take classes on your own time and provide that education right now. So that's something that Shoreline is able to offer all of you students, not only from students in Brazil, all of Latin America, but to the world. And with our over 90 different transfer programs, there are a lot of opportunities to make your education your own, and then pick the school of your dreams or the school you wanted to get into. As George was mentioning earlier, that the opportunities that community colleges can offer is you might not be able to get into a school you wanted to coming out of your high school grades, but after the community college program, you do have that opportunity to transfer to the school of your dreams. Including from Shoreline, we have students transferring to many of the California school system schools such as Berkeley and UCLA, but we've actually sent students to NYU every single quarter and semester in the past year and 2 years. So we're really excited to be really getting students to kind of see what opportunities are out there and get them into schools such as NYU, University of Michigan, University of Illinois, FIU, as Chris mentioned earlier, one of the largest universities in the country. But so there's a lot of opportunities that come from community colleges, and Shoreline can definitely provide those for you. So if you guys have more questions or want to talk about what opportunities that Shoreline can provide, I will be afterwards, and we can have my Zoom room. And the Seattle area and the Shoreline Community College are very, very close-knit, as our campus was actually donated to us by Boeing. So a lot of the airplanes that you might be flying on around the world or within the country of Brazil, the manufacturing hub for Boeing and the original headquarters was right here in Seattle, and our campus was actually given to us from the Boeing Foundation. So we have a really good connection with the city and the community itself.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Laurie Smith-Watson from UMBC, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And first, I'd like to talk with you a little bit about Maryland, the state, and why one might want to study in Maryland. We're located in the middle of the East Coast of the United States. Much like Brazil, the United States is a very, very diverse country with ample opportunities for exploration and education. Maryland is oftentimes referred to as America in miniature, in part because of our geographic offerings. The little map here points out exactly where we're located. UMBC is part of a consortium in Maryland, a total of 11 of our almost 50 colleges in our small state are part of the Maryland International Education Consortium, working very, very closely together. And we represent quite the diversity of schools within our state, from two-year community colleges to historically Black colleges and universities to public research universities, which extend all the way to our sister school, University of Maryland College Park, of more than 40,000 students. So there is a lot in the area. There are about 20,000 international students who attend university at a college or university 2 or 4 year school in Maryland. There are a large number of optional practical training students who finished their associate's degrees or bachelor's degrees who work in our region, especially near the city of Washington and the Northern Virginia area, and also in the Baltimore metropolitan area. They work in the fields of biohealth and life sciences, information technology and cybersecurity, aerospace and defense, financial services, and within energy and sustainability for companies, just as a few examples, such as Under Armour, T. Rowe Price, the National Institutes for Health, and Goddard Space Flight Center. We are ideally located for these types of experiences. And UMBC itself is located just about 60 kilometers north of Washington, D.C., and about 300 kilometers south of New York City. So Chris, we'll go to the next slide, please. And specifically UMBC, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. We are a medium-sized public research university, but actually, as you can see from the numbers of students that we have listed on the slide, in some cases, there are many throughout the country, community colleges that are larger than UMBC. So as a level 1 doctoral research university, we do have much to offer in a smaller setting. So we do pay a great deal of attention to our undergraduate students who comprise a little more than 11,000 of our total students. And specifically, I want to talk, of course, about our transfer students. Each year, we bring in about 1,500 new transfer students. Most of those are coming to us from 2-year community colleges. And so we work very, very closely with community college in Maryland and out of state in other states throughout the United States to make sure that we're articulating programs and courses so that you won't lose any credits or time when you're transferring to us. We offer advising support from the beginning of your time at community college until you get to UMBC and through your graduation and beyond. Many of our students are choosing to go on to do advanced study, especially because one of the hallmarks of UMBC is how many of our students are pursuing at the undergraduate level research and internship experiences. 96% of our international students are involved in those practical learning opportunities while they are with us. And this is one of the reasons that Times Higher Education has considered UMBC in the top 3% of universities worldwide for global social impact. It is also why we have been recognized by the professionals in international education for connecting international students with those practical learning experiences, curricular practical training, internships, and after your graduation from us, optional practical training. I want to stress that we do offer scholarships for incoming transfer students, and we'll expect big things of you. That is why we've included in our line here, your dreams are what drive us. We know you have big objectives, and we're going to help you to achieve those objectives. We're going to expect a lot, but we're going to support you a great deal as well. And we hope you too, post-graduation, are going to be like one of our alumna, Dr. Kazmikia Corbett, who is currently working at the National Institutes of Health in the Allergy and Infectious Diseases. She actually runs the lab for allergy and infectious diseases. And her lab is the lab that developed the Moderna vaccination that is being given now throughout the United States. And we are hoping is going to get us past this pandemic. So I hope to speak with you further in our Zoom room afterwards. Thank you so much for this time.
Thank you, Laurie. I think we have our last presenter now. Julie, please go ahead, and then we are getting to the end of the session, but we hope we can still have a couple of questions responded here. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Julie Whitlow again, and I am from Salem State University. Again, we are a campus about 25 miles north of Boston on the Atlantic Ocean. And we have about 7,500 undergraduate students and about 1,500 graduate students at Salem State. So we are a medium-sized four-year institution with graduate programs. Next slide. In Massachusetts, we have 15 community colleges, 9 state universities, and 5 universities of the University of Massachusetts that are research universities. So you can see the yellow dots are the community colleges in Massachusetts, and the state universities are our four-year state public institutions. So Salem is on that map, number 19. Next slide. So at Salem State, we have undergraduate and graduate programs. We have over 30 majors with different concentrations that lead to bachelor's degrees and about 30 additional programs, including the Master's in Business Administration. Some of our other more popular majors for our international students are biotechnology, business, computer science, IT, various education programs, nursing, and healthcare studies. We have approximately 200 international students, so we have a fairly robust international population. Next slide. Massachusetts may be unique in that it has a transfer agreement with all of the community college programs. So I encourage you, when you get these slides, to review the information here, because this is an associate's degree to a bachelor's degree pathway that is designed to be seamless, which means all of the credits that you earn at one of the Massachusetts community colleges automatically transfer to the state colleges or universities. In addition, part of the mass transfer program allows those who have done well at the community colleges, who have earned 30 credits and who have a 3.0 grade point average or better, regardless of whether you are international, you will have your state tuition waived in the form of a scholarship. At the state colleges in Massachusetts, there are tuition and there are fees. Fees tend to be set by the university and are higher than the tuition portion. But if you successfully transfer from a community college, you do not pay the tuition portion of your bill. Next slide. So this mass transfer A to B, students who have 3.0 do save a lot of money on your bachelor's degree once you transfer from a community college. Average 28% of your bachelor's degree costs will be lowered if you transfer from a Massachusetts community college. Next slide. So the highlights of Salem State, again, we have over 30 undergraduate majors. Our graduate MBA program has recently been AACSB accredited, which is a prestigious accreditation afforded to only about 5% of business schools around the world. We do have affordable tuition. We do have housing on campus for all international students. We have new and modern dormitories and fitness center, dining facilities. We do have a strong core in the liberal arts and sciences. Many of those core courses may be taken at a community colleges, and then you can transfer in to focus on your bachelor's degree major of choice. As I mentioned before, the North Shore of Boston, the Boston area, have many opportunities for both CPT internship and optional practical training work opportunities post-graduation. Again, we're a small historic city, 25 kilometers from Boston. It's a very beautiful area with a lot of beaches, cafes, restaurants, museums, both in our city and in and around Boston. Public transportation to Boston is very reliable. There's a train that's about 30 minutes from Boston. Next slide. As I said before, we have about 5,500 undergraduates, 1,500 graduate students, students from about 24 states and 40 different countries. We do have a fairly large Brazilian community. About 35 of our undergraduate students are Brazilian. The pictures here are some of our dormitories and classroom buildings, and about 1,500 of our students live on campus. One of the advantages to our relatively small university is that the faculty-student ratio is quite good. The average class size is never over about 20 to 25 students, and you have a lot of opportunities to engage with professors, to do research, work on projects, and we do our best to help our international students work on campus if that's something that they would like to do. Next slide. That's it. Thank you. You can join me in the Zoom room if you would like.
All right, students, thank you so much. So that was just a wrap up of the presentations from each institution. Again, if you want to get in contact with us, just go ahead and screenshot. I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, screenshot. 3, 2, 1, screenshot, and we'll leave it to closing remarks.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you all for the wonderful presentation, all the information you provided. I'm sure the Brazilian students are enjoying very much. We are almost over here with our 1-hour session. So I will just throw one major question, and then please ask the students that hold your questions and take to the Zoom rooms and ask them there, and also at the EducationUSA room. One question we see here a lot is, we have high school students interested in applying directly to a community college, but how about the students who are already in college in Brazil and would be willing to transfer to a community college? Would that be possible? Any of you could please respond?
Yes, absolutely. We do take a lot of students who are currently at universities. And actually, it's a very easy pathway for students who want to go to a university if they're already attended or they're currently attending a university in their home country, just because they're able to fulfill some course credits for them to transfer to the university that they want to. So yes, absolutely, they can do that. And also community colleges do accept students who already have bachelor's degrees. So if you're that type of student that wants to change their career, get a certificate, or if you need to fill graduate requirements, as you know, there's some undergraduate requirements that graduate schools do require, you can also come for community colleges for those reasons.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So as you might have seen here, we have the Zoom links here for the students to go to the rooms. Pessoal, vocês podem usar os links que estão aqui no chat para entrar nas salas específicas das instituições que vocês têm interesse ou no nosso Education USA Room, tá bem? Guardem suas perguntas, não desanimem. Entrem nas salas que vocês vão ter condições de tê-las todas respondidas. Thank you so much, Chris, Julie, Dorian, Andrew, Laurie, and George, for being here with us this afternoon. It's been a pleasure, and have a great meeting with your students in the rooms.
Thank you so much.
Very
everyone.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy your rooms. I'll see you guys in a
Thank
bit.
you.
Yes, we look forward to seeing you. Bye.